Hello and welcome to the third episode of Fresh Off the Reel. My name is Lib.
And my name is still Pat,
That hasn't changed since the beginning.
and I
Uh,
don't expect it to change anytime soon, but we'll see.
maybe. Maybe it'll change. But who knows, really, at this point. 2021's been a weird year.
It
Anyways,
has been.
today we got a special episode for you guys.
Yeah, so we mentioned it briefly in the last episode, which at the time of recording is not out yet, but when you hear this, it will be. You should check that one out. We watched
Yeah,
Free Guy.
yeah, we
Ryan
did.
Reynolds is in it, so you should watch that video.
Hmm.
We briefly mentioned how maybe once a month or maybe when things are a little quieter, we'll be doing a special episode where we just discuss the movies we watched the previous month and we can just kind of shoot the shit and about what we watched and yeah, we'll just talk. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, not just pretty much. All of his episodes just completely improvised. Like usually we write little notes about the movie, blah blah blah, when we're doing a big review. But we're really just gonna rapid fire these because I have 10 movies to talk about. You have how many?
I also have 10, but
Yeah,
some of them are things you've already discussed, and there's a two-parter. And yeah, so it's about like 9 or 10.
yeah. So this is what we watched in August.
Yeah, like Lib said, these aren't going to be full-fledged reviews. Some of these movies might get episodes later. We'll mention that if it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this really is just we're talking about movies.
Yeah, we're talking cinema like we always do.
Yep.
So
So do you wanna start with what you watched in August?
yeah, so technically not August, but July 31st, but we're counting it anyways. Pat and we both watched Luca, and
Yep.
great. It was really good. Like I gotta say, great movie.
I also really enjoyed Luca.
It's
Um,
probably the cutest movie I've ever seen. It's
Visually, it's great. I think this one stands out amongst the other Pixar stuff that came out recently.
yeah. Also,
Um,
we're spaghettis ourselves, so we
we are.
resonated with this film.
It was very Italian.
Yeah.
This movie taught me what it meant to see an Italian with feelings.
Man, this movie was so good. It makes me wish that Italians were real.
So do you want to give a brief little synopsis of what the movie's about?
Yeah.
Or would
So,
you like me to read the Letterboxd synopsis for it?
oh, yeah. Hold on.
Because I have it open.
You want to read it? Yeah. Go ahead. I just looked through
Two young boys experience an unforgettable Italian summer filled with gelato, pasta, endless scooter rides. All the fun is threatened by a deeply held secret. They are sea monsters from another world, just below the water surface.
Well, that's
Which is true.
that,
That is accurate.
that's like last episode when we pulled the plot synopsis for Free Guy straight from Rotten Tomatoes. This barely scratches the surface.
It tells you enough to like get you interested, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
So
movie's it's just a coming of age story for two young sea monsters who are trying to find their place in the world.
yeah, the
And
whole
it's a
the
very
whole thing about it is like you want to fit in, but you can't because you're a sea monster, and like the whole fucking town is they hate sea monsters, and like it's gonna be my prize trophy to kill a sea monster. So when the sea monsters come out of water, they look like humans, and that's pretty much the whole thing. Uh,
the moment they get wet, like the spot that they get wet on turns back into their sea monster form briefly.
yeah,
So that's kind of like a reoccurring plot point throughout the entire movie that they're trying to remain hidden. They're trying to not get wet. They're trying to blend in with Italian society while they're trying to enter this. It's like a sports festival, but it's kind of like a relay race, kind of.
triathlon.
It's a triathlon because they really want to win an Italian scooter, a little small Italian scooter, because they want to see the world.
Yeah, they want a Vespa. They want to travel the world, and the city that they're in, I forgot the name of it. They go there. and they enter this triathlon where the first round is swimming, and then the second round is a pasta eating contest, and the third round you get on a a bike, right? Yeah, you race on a bike, and then the first one to finish wins a Vespa.
Yeah. And
Uh,
like that's like the goal, right? That's the goal the character's trying to get to.
yeah,
But the movie really is about these two kids meeting and experiencing this new life and trying to find their place in it, and they're trying to blend in with a world they don't really understand, and they're trying to understand each other, and it's really cute. The friendship dynamic in this movie is really good between
hmm.
the two main boys, but also with I can't remember the little girl's name right now,
Emma,
but
I think it was Emma,
yes,
Julia.
no, it's Julia. Emma's the voice
Emma's the
actress.
voice actress.
Yes, it's Luca, Alberto, and Julia.
Hmm.
Their friendship, I think, is handled very well. It's very cute. It's very believable. Um, I just really enjoyed it. It was a really good, like, feel good Pixar movie to watch.
Yeah,
It's animated beautifully. The music is really nice.
yeah,
Got solid characters. I honestly I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
yeah. It's my I think it's my favorite out of the modern Pixar like movies. Like Soul is really good too, but I think I like Luca just a little bit more. It's on the shorter side, but you know, it's a kids animation. It's a feel good movie. It's not gonna leave a lasting impact, I don't think, you know, so it doesn't have to be super long. Uh the best character is the dad, Julia's dad. That's the best character.
Massimo,
Massimo, that's his name. He was the best.
he's great. I really liked the bully character.
Yeah,
Um,
Er-
Ercole, he was
Ercole.
fun. It's weird because he's an adult basically, and he's just bullying kids, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's
But
really weird.
I enjoyed it. I think it's definitely up there with like the modern Pixar stuff for me. Um, I really love Soul, so
Hmm.
I think I'd put Soul and Coco just a little bit above it. But I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I don't count Coco as modern Pixar.
It's not that old.
Well, it's not
It's
that. Yeah,
2017.
it's what year
It's
is it?
2017. 2017.
27. Oh, okay.
That's modern Pixar.
Okay, yeah, then yeah, modern Pixar. Okay. Okay, well, then it is
Certainly better than
Coco.
like Onward, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4. It's
Yeah.
definitely better than those. Soul personally stuck out to me, and then Coco was just fantastic. So I would put those two above it, but I really enjoyed Luca. It's a great time. I'd recommend it to anybody who just wants a nice feel good movie.
Yeah.
But it's a good time.
Yeah, what did you rate it?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
That's a pretty good score.
Yeah. That just goes to show it's a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, really you should. And parents, watch it with your kids. They're gonna love it.
Yeah, and I know there's something for the kids, there's something for parents too. It's a Pixar movie. You'll
Yeah,
get
it's
your kick out of
Pixar. I don't want to get into that big conversation about like how Pixar has changed, because that then we're gonna really be here for hours. We'll do that another time.
Yeah, maybe the next Pixar release we could get into that topic a little bit more.
Yeah, it's what's
But
it, Turning Red, right?
I don't know.
That's the next one.
I'm not following. But yeah, we'll maybe get into that another time. This is really good. Would recommend.
Yeah, so Luca, good movie. So Pat, I think what's next for you?
The next movie, another movie we watched together on the 31st.
Mm-hmm, same day.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Now that
No,
I'm just gonna come on and say it. I love this movie. I gave it a perfect score. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about this movie, and I have lots of good things to say when we do an episode on it.
yes, we are going to do an episode on Into the Spider-Verse, so we're not gonna talk much about it. I also gave it a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
A fantastic movie. I love it. I think it gave Miles Morales the character. It's like the perfect jolt of like life that the character really needed at that point of its career.
Mm-hmm.
Because Miles had been around for I want to say 6 or 7 years at the time of this movie's release.
Yeah, he's
But he was
fairly
always
new.
fairly new, but he had been around long enough for him to probably have found his image, but he hadn't. He was always in Peter's shadow. And I think this movie, along with the PS4 game,
Hmm.
is finally what that character needed to really like stand out on his own. And I could not be happier. The movie's great. It's a great introduction to the Spider Verse to casual viewers who maybe
Yes.
only know Peter Parker. It's just a fantastic movie. It's beautifully animated. The music is great. The score is really good, along with the licensed music. It's just a really good time, and I can't wait to talk about this more when it gets its own full episode.
Yeah, like after we watched it, because we watched it as a big group, it was us two and a few other friends. Later, like I think it was earlier this month. It's September in when we're recording this. So like earlier in September, I rewatched it again by myself. That first when I watched it, I was like I gave it a 4 out of 5. Then I rewatched it again alone. I bumped it up. I gave it a 5 because it was great. And like I when I was a kid, I used to love Spider-Man. I used to watch the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies every single fucking day. I'm not joking. Like actually every day. I had Spider-Man 2 memorized at a point. Like it was crazy, but I've never seen the Amazing movies. Well, we're gonna get to that later in this episode actually. But after watching Into the Spider-Verse, it really reignited my love for Spider-Man, and now I can't stop looking for Spider-Man content. Like I just recently got a PS5. Immediately, Miles Morales Ultimate Edition. I really really want to play those games, and now I'm super hyped for because there was the PlayStation event, and I'm super hyped for Spider-Man 2 coming out. Like, oh, like really,
Into the Spider Verse 2 is coming.
yeah, that too. Like
It's a
really,
good time to be a fan, and I think this movie just is added to that just pure fun experience of being a fan of this character.
yeah. And then on top of me finally getting into the MCU and watching Spider-Man Homecoming, like just I'm diehard into Spider-Man once again, going back into my childhood. It's great. It's a great feeling. I love it. I love this movie. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, we'll get into that more whenever we cover it. I don't know if we're gonna wait for Spider Verse 2 news or maybe around No Way Home. We'll see, but we're definitely gonna be covering this movie.
Yeah, for sure. That is 100%. We don't know when, but it's 100% happening.
So, what's the next movie on your list, sir?
All right, so we just talked about two great movies. Let's talk about a mediocre one. Um, our first episode of the podcast was on The Suicide Squad by James Gunn, not the other one, the good one. So to prepare for watching that movie, I decided it'd be a fantastic idea to watch Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. So I already talked about how I felt about Suicide Squad in the first episode of our podcast. You should go check it out. In August, I watched Birds of Prey. And Pan, I know you've seen it too. I gave it a 1 out of 5.
I
It's
wouldn't go that far. I would not go that far, but
no, I just have a no, like for me, I don't like Harley Quinn. I think she's annoying. Like really annoying. Like to the point where I really had to turn the movie off to give a break for like half an hour and then go back and start watching it again. And it's like a second break near the end. I just couldn't watch like I couldn't watch this movie in one sitting, and I hated the villain. I hated the villain. Uh it was what's his name?
Black Mask played by
Black Mask, played
Ewan
by
Ewan
Ewan
McGregor.
McGregor. You know, the guy who played Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi.
I have a different opinion on this one. I enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's good. I gave it a 3, but it teeters on a between a 2.5 and a 3 out of 5. But I think this movie was pretty all right, especially coming off of um the original Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed this one. I think Margot Robbie, out of the three movies she's in, I think I like her the least in this one. which is ironic because I don't have much good to say about her in the original Suicide Squad. But I think she's a little too hammed up here. She's a little too quippy. She's a little too a one note joke in this one.
The movie's about her.
Yeah, and she's the main character in this one, so that aspect of her gets more spotlight than she does in the other two movies she's in. But I do love Margot Robbie as the character, and I think she continues to be, at the very least, portraying the character well. So it doesn't bother me too much. I really liked Black Canary and Cassandra Cain in this movie. I would have liked to see Cassandra Cain on the big screen for the first time as Batwoman and not as a child, but I'll take it, I guess. Maybe she'll come back. Maybe she'll come back later. I like Ewan McGregor as Black Mask personally. I kind of wish we got to see more of him. He is a little loud and obnoxious, but he's like that in the comics too. But I
Okay.
guess I don't find Ewan McGregor threatening, and Black Mask is supposed to be very threatening. Like he's loud and obnoxious in the comics, but he's also like the anger makes him threatening. I don't find Ewan McGregor super threatening. But maybe that's also because I know him as Obi-Wan and I'm used to him as Obi-Wan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he was fine. Um, the action's fine. Yeah, overall, I think Birds of Prey is fine. Not a favorite, but it's all right.
Me bro, I didn't like it.
That's perfectly valid. I don't have much else to say really. Oh, Huntress is in this movie. I completely forgot Huntress was in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at the Letterboxd page,
I think even the cast forgot that Huntress was in it.
which is a shame because I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead, but she doesn't really do much in this movie.
She plays a
Unfortunately.
really like awkward, like she doesn't really know her place in the world in this movie. It's
Yeah,
it's a bit awkward to see, but
uh,
you know.
she's a good actress. She's not maybe not right for this character. Maybe not right in this movie. A different script would have shown her off bit better. But it's fine. I think compared to a lot of the DCEU, I think this is pretty alright. If you gave this a 1 out of 5, you're not gonna like Batman v Superman very much.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Oh, but what if we do an episode? I don't want to rewatch it,
Yeah,
so
see,
you come up.
that's the thing. We're not gonna do an episode. So.
Yeah. So um
Well, that's Birds of Prey.
yeah, the next movie on my list, it's pretty quick. It's the Suicide Squad. We did an episode on it. If you want to hear our full thoughts, go
Yeah,
watch episode one.
first episode.
I like it. Good movie, fun time. I watched it twice last month. I'll probably watch it again. It's a good time.
I really like it. Yeah, and I didn't get to rewatch it. So and I still haven't rewatched it. So I'm probably gonna do that soon.
It's a good time. I much prefer the route James Gunn took over the original cut of the movie.
Of
The
course.
original, the cut of the original movie.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get the air cut someday. Maybe we'll talk about it. But if we don't, and this is the version of Suicide Squad we get going forward for good, I am perfectly okay with that because I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, the Peacemaker show. I think it finished production, right?
Yeah, we're supposed to see the first trailer or something for it at DC Fandom.
Yep. But we're gonna stop talking about the Suicide Squad because if you want to know our thoughts about it, then check out the first episode of the podcast.
And if you want to hear our thoughts on Peacemaker, maybe we'll talk about that in the future.
Yeah. All right. So my next thing that I watched in August is not a movie. It was a show. It was WandaVision. I think I started it like mid July and I finished it in August, so I'm counting it as I watched it in August. I know Pat has strong opinions of WandaVision.
I think WandaVision's first couple episodes are fantastic, and then it falls off hard.
I think the show is great the whole way through.
If you want to hear more about that, you can look forward to a future episode where we talk about WandaVision,
Yeah,
because that's
because
going to happen.
we are going to talk about WandaVision because we both have very strong opinions about it.
Yeah, and I think as a first MCU show on Disney Plus, or just in general, really, because The Netflix shows don't really count. I think it's fine. I don't hate it. I think I have now that it's been a while and it's kind of settled in. I think I enjoy it more than Winter Soldier, but less than Loki. But we'll get into that more when we get to that show or those shows.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish it stuck the landing a little bit better for me.
Yeah, like the last episode is my least favorite, but
Yeah,
I don't think
same.
it brings down the whole show because it is just the last episode. Like, but the last episode is really important, you know. But
I
it's
think I mean
okay.
I don't want to go into it too much, but I think everything as of the Agatha twist until the end is when the show loses me.
Yep. Well, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
I gave it a score. Let's check
I
because
think
I
you gave
don't
it
have that
three and a
open
half.
now.
Yeah, you gave it 3.5.
Okay, and I stand by that. I think a 7 is maybe a 6. 7's good too.
Well, there you go. That's WandaVision. You're gonna hear more about it in a future episode.
Yep. At some point after What If ends, we'll be discussing What If, and then we'll go backwards and we'll discuss the other 3 Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
Well, now it's your turn, Pat.
I don't want it to be my turn because the
Uh,
next
oh,
the next the next 3 movies on
oh,
my
we made
list
it there.
are movies I did not enjoy watching. They're movies that were not made for me, and I probably shouldn't have watched, but I stomached through for some fucking reason. Kissing Booth 3 came out in August, and I decided it was a good idea to jump on this bandwagon and watch the trilogy.
I've only seen the first one.
These movies are not good. And I wish I had other things to say about them. I wish I could say that there's some redeeming quality to them.
There isn't.
Joey King cannot act.
Nope.
Joel Courtney cannot act. Jacob Elordi, sorry, cannot act. None of these characters have chemistry together. It's awkward to watch them, and when you're building a love triangle romance, it's pretty important that these characters have chemistry with each other. They didn't, and I don't even remember what these movies are about. I think the first one is like they're trying to do a school
Yeah,
talent
there's a
thing, and they
school
open up a
thing, and
kissing booth.
they're like, we need ideas for a fundraiser, and they're like, let's do a kissing booth.
And then she kisses the most popular boy in school, who I think was played by Joel Courtney.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
and then they have sex, and they start dating, and then her best friend gets really jealous.
Not only was it bad, but it got 2 bad sequels.
Yeah. How did it even get How did it get the first sequel?
Because people like me watched it ironically, and then young teenagers funded the rest of it. I genuinely, I think combined, I gave this movie a 2.5 between all 3. I gave the first one a 1 out of 5, the second one a 1 out of 5, and the third one a half a star on 5.
I think it is the worst Netflix original I've ever seen.
The Kissing Booth 3 is definitely the worst movie I've seen this year. Actually, that's not true. I watched He's All That this year, and I think that takes the cake for the worst movie I saw this year.
You
If you want to hear me talk about that more, watch that in September. So you're gonna have to wait until that episode.
yeah, when we talk about what we watch in September, you'll hear about He's All
Spoilers. It sucks. It's really bad.
That.
It's somehow worse than the Kissing Booth 3.
I'm gonna have a lot to talk about for September actually, because this month I'm doing my James Bond marathon, so I'm gonna have a lot to talk
Well,
about.
I'm gonna have lots to talk about that because I've also been marathoning James Bond movies, but a lot slower and over the course of a year and a half. So I'm not done yet. So Lib might catch up.
I'm only at the third one right now.
I've been at GoldenEye for like 2 months now. So
We should get on that.
yeah,
All
we'll
right.
talk about James Bond more when James Bond comes up.
So my next thing that I watched after WandaVision is I watched this with Pat. We watched Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi one. I mean, it's way better than I remember it. Like Like I
This
said
movie.
before, when I was a kid, I would watch these movies nonstop. I think until I watched this, what date is it, what day did I put on Letterboxd? August
I have
17th.
yeah, I have it on the 17th.
Yeah. Before the 17th, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years that I haven't seen the entire Sam Raimi trilogy. Our plan that night, well, we were gonna watch it, and then we were like, then tomorrow we're gonna watch Spider-Man 2, and up until right now we still haven't seen it.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna get there eventually. Uh, we were gonna watch Spider-Man 2 at another point, but then we ended up watching Amazing Spider-Man instead because for some reason Spider-Man 1 and 3 are on Netflix, but not 2.
Yep.
Which is fucking weird, but anyways, you know what's not fucking weird? Spider-Man 1. It's a good
Yeah,
movie.
great movie. I know it's like, especially now, it's really like popular to be a Raimi show on Twitter.
It's a meme.
I watched this movie like I think I've seen it 3 times already this year. It's gonna be a fourth and probably be a fifth. I love the Raimi trilogy. I think it is close to the perfect Spider-Man adaptation we've seen on screen up to this point. I love Homecoming. The amazing movies definitely exist, but I think Sam Raimi's interpretation of these characters and Tobey's interpretation of Peter Parker is as close to perfect as we've seen to the Lee and Ditko stuff, and I really love this movie.
It's
I
great.
I can't wait to maybe see Tobey Maguire come back in No Way Home.
Hopefully.
I also can't wait to maybe see Andrew Garfield come back, but I think seeing
That was
Toby put
Photoshop.
on no. The guy who made it said he faked it. So the fake was faked and it's real again.
No, did you see the interview that Andrew Garfield had with
But he's not gonna
Jimmy
say it.
Kimmel? No, he
It's
he yelled because he yelled that was
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Yeah, but then there's a guy faked being the one who made that footage, and then he came out and said that was faked. So right now it's this big web of lies. You don't know
Hmm.
what's happening.
Web.
A
Spider-Man.
web, a web of shadows, if you will.
Web of Shadows. That's the first game I
Yeah,
ever beat on my PS3.
yeah. Raimi Spider-Man 1, great flick, love it. Maybe we'll talk about it more someday. I would love to talk about it more someday.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
for as of now, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
All right. What's next, Pat?
So next movie for me is Jose the Tiger and the Fish.
I
It's an
don't know
anime
what that
movie.
is.
It's an anime movie on Netflix.
I'm gonna look it up.
It is by the director Kotaro Tamura. This is his first movie, and it was pretty alright. It's about this dude who gets a job as an assistant for a girl in a wheelchair who has the dream of going abroad so he could become a scuba diver. And this girl's dream is to get out of her wheelchair, which is a little bit hard when you're in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So they come into each other's lives, and they originally they hate each other. It's very standard romance. They don't like each other. They don't get along. But throughout the course of the movie, they kind of build off each other, and he gives her the confidence and motivation to experience life beyond her wheelchair in her own ways, by like living through her art and living through how her art makes other people feel. And he learns that he shouldn't hate his life, and he shouldn't try to flee somewhere else to scuba dive, and he can find things that make him happy here. But he should also chase his dreams as much as he can. It's a very cute movie. Characters are pretty generic, but it's very well animated. Music's nice. Bit of a tearjerker. I enjoyed it. I also watched it when I was sad, and it made me sadder. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a good anime movie. It's on Netflix if you are interested, and I'd recommend it.
Netflix in Canada.
Netflix in Canada.
Yeah.
For future reference, whenever we mention this movie's on Netflix, it is a Netflix in our region.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix original though, I think.
Oh,
So it
okay.
should be everywhere.
It
But
should
don't
be
quote me.
everywhere then.
But don't quote me.
What did you rate it?
I gave it a 3.5 on 5.
Nice.
A 7 on 10. It was fun.
All right, cool. Now, the movie I watched after Spider-Man, the Raimi Spider-Man, then I watched the Amazing Spider-Man again with Pat. This time I was at his house for this one. We made lots of jokes about it, but bad movie. I didn't like it. It was really boring, and I don't know how you can make Spider-Man boring, but they did. They also showed how Emma Stone is not always a great actress.
Yeah. Okay, okay, I have things to say about this movie.
then
So,
then say it. Say
okay,
what
this
you got.
movie, contrary to its name, this movie is not
It's
amazing.
not amazing.
Sometimes I struggle to say it's good, but I do, on some level, like it. I think it has great ideas. I think Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Spider-Man is fantastic. I think he's a great actor. I think he does a good job here with what he's given. I think Emma Stone also does a fantastic job with what she's given. I think their chemistry is great. They're very cute together. Whenever they're on screen together, I want to throw up because they're so cute. They were dating at the time, so that makes sense. But I
Oh
think
yeah.
they really sell me on the Peter Gwen relationship, and that's kind of where the good things stop for me with that movie. I think the CGI is great. CGI is fantastic. Don't really care for the plot point with Peter's parents. It's more of an issue in the second one, but it's definitely built up here.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the second one yet.
Don't care for the lizard in this one. He's not good. I think the movie's
It's
very dark and muddy.
it's
Not
really
very pretty to
it
look at.
it 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 sure is. It sure is. That's
I,
what this movie is. This movie sure is.
I do see where Lib is coming from when he says it's boring, because I think it's visually boring to look at times.
Like
Um,
it takes like about an hour in until Peter gets his suit. Like
I think
I think they
this
focus too
one
much on Peter Parker and not enough on Spider-Man, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't think that's a bad thing. I don't think I think it takes a bit too much. Like I don't mind focusing on Peter. Just I don't like the stuff they specifically focus on about Peter. Like I don't like the skater boy shit they're doing in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I don't like I
that's not
yeah.
Peter.
I don't like Peter's obsession with his parents in this duology. It's not exclusive to this one, and it's more of an issue in the second one. But I don't like his obsession with his parents. I do think he does well at being this awkward geek kind of. And I've kind of softened up on the Andrew Garfield is too attractive to play Peter Parker take that I see a lot on Twitter. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I don't love him. I love him as Peter. I don't love the portrayal of Peter in the script in this. And
He's out of the three movie Peters that we have, he is the smartest one though.
100%. And I like that we get to see him do research making his suit, and you see him like actually making the web shooters.
Yeah.
I know you see him making mistakes with the web shooters. I want to see more of that in Tom Holland's version of the character, which I think at this point is not going to happen.
Nope,
But I
it's
would
just
love to
Stark
see
Tech.
more. I would love to see more of that aspect of Peter Parker's character. I think that the choreography in this is great. The CG looks amazing. The suit looks real. I know it's CG. I know it's a model, but it looks real. The wrinkles in the suit when he's swinging around is great. This movie has good things about it. It doesn't stick the landing, and it's definitely brought down by its awful sequel that we'll talk about, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah, I just have to watch it first. But yeah, that's amazing. So I gave it a 2 out of 5.
For me, it jumps between a 2.5 and a 3, depending on my mood. There are times where I'll put it on and I'll enjoy it, and there'll be other times where I'm not vibing with it. So yeah, I think right now it's sitting at a 3, and it's probably what I'd give it, but we'll see.
What's your next movie, Pat?
My next two movies are Spider-Man 1 and Free Guy. Both movies we either talked about just now,
Yeah.
or or there's an episode which at the time of recording that episode is not out, but when you hear this, it will be.
Yeah, by
So
the
if
time
you
you
want to
hear
hear my
this,
thoughts,
the last week's episode. So yeah, if you want to hear what we have to say about Freedom Person, uh, make sure to
Yeah.
check out episode 2.
Yeah. So go watch that.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good movie. We go, of course, more into detail in the episodes. Just go watch the episode. Um, Now, do you want me to go, or do you want to say a movie since we pretty much just skipped you?
You go ahead because I have one movie left. So
My next movie, uh, it was La La Land, and we talked about it last episode, where I went in detail for during the recommendation segment. Because in the first episode, Pat recommended me La La Land, and then I watched it, and then on the second episode, I talked about it, and in case you want to hear what I have to say about it again, it is one of my favorite movies of all time right now. It's on the front page of my Letterboxd account. I think it's great. I love the songs, and actually something that funny that happened was after we finished recording last episode, which was a couple days ago. Pat sent me a picture of his Spotify, and he was listening to the soundtrack.
the songs in the movie are fantastic. I also love that movie. It's also in like my top 15. I love it. It's a fantastic movie.
I gave it a
It, it
perfect
turned
score.
it turned me around on musicals. As someone who's not a musical guy, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's just well, it's the best musical I've ever seen. One of the best movies I've ever seen, and I think it is Emma Stone's best movie.
I think just as like a pure like a rating level, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Ryan Gosling's best movie. I do think Ryan Gosling's best movie was Blade Runner 2049, and I do want to do an episode on that movie. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, so we could totally do that. I've
Yeah,
seen the original Blade Runner, but I have not seen 2049.
it's amazing.
I've heard nothing but great things. I own it. I own it on Blu-ray. I really want to watch it. I just haven't.
We should watch it.
Sure, I'm down to watch it.
Yeah, let's watch it, and we'll do an episode on Blade Runner 2049 in the future. I would love to do that. But that's La La Land. If you want to hear us go more into detail, again, watch episode 2 during the recommendation segment of that episode. We go into some detail on La La Land, and also we're
I
going to
just
do an episode on its own for La La Land.
would you like to just throw out your favorite song? Just
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
my favorite song from La La Land was is A Lovely Night. Uh
My favorite is "Start a Fire."
wait, hold on. I have to remember
You'll
that
have
one.
to you'll have to listen to that one later.
I'm gonna have to listen to it later because I can't listen to it
Uh,
now.
"City of Stars" is also up there, but that's the boring pick, right? So
Yeah, that one that won an Oscar, that song.
yeah, it's the boring pick, but
Yeah.
I love that song.
A Lovely Night and Someone in the Crowd. Those are my favorites.
Someone in the Crowd is fantastic too. Yeah.
I love it. La La Land. I gave it a perfect score. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. If I could give it 11, I would.
So my next movie is a two-parter. It's Batman: The Long Halloween, Part 1 and 2, an animated adaptation of the comic book by the same name, Batman: The Long Halloween. I watched in August. I watched both in August on the same day. It's the story about Batman trying to uncover the serial killing of the Carmine Falcone crime family, of him and his competitor, whose name I don't remember off the top of my head right now. It's a story early in Batman's career when he's not necessarily the great detective he becomes later. It's also the origin story for Two-Face in the comics, or at least this is a version of Two-Face's origin story.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. Don't really think it needed to be a two-parter, but I appreciate it because things got to flesh out a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's an adaptation, so I don't necessarily think it's as good as the comic. Obviously, I'd recommend the original comic over this, but I had fun.
Yeah, I've
I
never
think
heard of it until Pat
of
started talking
yeah,
about it.
of the like recent, because they've been like slowly animating popular Batman stories. I think they did the Killing Joke, they did Long Halloween. They did Year One. There's a couple other ones. I think this is probably the strongest one. Yeah, it's pretty good. If you're a Batman fan, and especially if you like this specific story, I'd recommend it. It's not perfect by any stretch. It's got some of the same DC AU issues that all the other movies have. This isn't part of the AU, but it shares similar issues because they're adapting a story. It's pretty good. I would recommend.
All right, cool.
I gave part one they both a 3.5 on 5.
Yeah, well, I can't really say anything about it because I don't even know what it is. So, yep.
If you like animated Batman stuff, there it
Then
is.
check it out, I guess.
Yep.
All right. So, my last movie that I watched in August, I rewatched The Adventures of Tintin: The Secret of the Unicorn. Childhood movie. I love it. I think the animation still holds up. I think the voice acting was it was weird. Like Daniel Craig plays the villain, and it doesn't really like resonate with me. Like the whole villain in the whole shtick with the villain in this movie. Because the whole thing is, in case you haven't seen it, and I know like a lot of people haven't seen it because I think it's the animation that throws them off because it is very weirdly animated. It's like realistic, but it's right on the line of uncanny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah. So the whole plot there was this ship called the Unicorn that was sailed by a captain named Captain Haddock, and we see his ancestor, no, not his ancestor, his like great grandson. That's the Captain Haddock that we see, but there's another Captain Haddock. He's named after him. The captain of the Unicorn, and the Unicorn went down, and it had a bunch of treasure on the ship. It sank, and the treasure just sitting on the ocean floor, and the whole movie is focused around these three models of the ship. Inside the models of the ship, there's a scroll, and if you get all three scrolls and you put them together, it'll tell you where the treasure is hidden. And that's the whole thing of the movie. All the characters are trying to get to the treasure. It's like a race for the treasure. It stars Canadian wonder Tintin. I'm sure people
Okay.
outside of Canada have heard of it, but it's rare. Like and it was weird for Steven Spielberg. I don't know, me as a Canadian and growing up in like in Quebec, which is where Tintin was made. I can't see why they made a movie for the general populace because no one's ever heard of the source material for the most part if you're outside of Canada. But hey, it was a great movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Now, Pat, I know you have a different opinion.
Yeah, I like it.
Everything I like, Pat doesn't like.
Like to be perfectly fair, I don't have that emotional connection with the original source material. Honestly, I don't really have anything else to say. This one doesn't really do anything for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I love it, and Steven Spielberg's my favorite director. I mean, it's not his best movie, but you know, it's good. I liked it. It's good.
Maybe I'll give it a rewatch sometime because it's been a while.
You
But
should.
this one doesn't really do much for me.
You should. You should rewatch it because it's amazing.
I'll take your word on it. Maybe
Um.
I'll change that opinion in a future episode where I watch it.
All right, and Pat, you finished your list, right?
Yes, I'm done. That's every movie I've seen in August.
All right, so I have one more thing. It's not on Letterboxd, so I could like that's why I forgot about it. But I forgot that like I watched BoJack Horseman in August, and I finished it like near the end, like on the 30th or the 31st is when I finished BoJack Horseman. I do want to do an episode, like an episode on BoJack Horseman
I
because
would be down because I love that show.
yeah, I love that I loved it. It's not on Letterboxd, so like because they don't have TV shows on Letterboxd.
Don't have some TV shows.
Oh, they don't
They
have
have
some. Yeah,
others.
they have some. Well, I don't know. They just added porn to Letterboxd, so maybe in the future they'll finally add TV shows. Did you see that they added porn?
I did not know. I did not know that.
They well not porn, but uh they added professionally produced adult films.
I see.
Yeah, that's how I think that's how they worded it. Um, I guess that is the cleanest way of wording it. You can't see them unless you go in your letterbox settings and turn on the setting to make adult films visible. But yeah, maybe in the future they'll add TV shows, but as of now there isn't, so I can't write a review for it. So that's why I really want to do an episode about it. I gave it. I would give it a 5 out of 5. Great. It's my
Great
favorite
show.
adult animation.
It's up there for me.
Mhm.
The show made me emotional in ways I didn't think possible.
Me
And
too.
yeah,
It really shows like how terrible of a person somebody can be.
yeah, we can talk about it more
Yeah, on the
on
episode
the
that we
show.
do. Yeah. With that being said, that's pretty much it. That's what we watched in August.
Yes.
Uh,
I wasn't planning on doing a this week in Hollywood segment for this episode because we're recording this episode very close to the last one, so a lot of that stuff is still relevant here.
mhm.
But right now, like live, as I'm saying this,
Right now.
the Emmys are happening. So
Oh, I thought they were over.
nope, they are still happening.
They're still happening right now. Oh wow,
Yeah,
they
like
are.
right now, people are arriving at the Emmys. So
Wow, that's
I think when we spoke about it last time, they were just giving out the awards, and now people are coming to accept those awards and to give their
is that
speeches.
is that how the Emmys works?
I don't know.
I thought it worked. I thought
So
it worked like the Oscars, where everyone's there and then
I
they just.
I assume so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's happening. People are arriving, and yeah, that's maybe we'll talk about that more.
Cool. Yeah, like we said
See,
last
okay,
episode, we
no,
might not do
so
an episode on the Emmys, but we might. Who knows?
was it okay? So no, I think that was a different awards show, and I'm just misremembering because
What?
there's a nominees list for the Emmys, so clearly they have not been announced yet.
Wait, then what did we watch? No, what did we watch, and what would we say when there was like Wanda Vision and The Mandalorian?
I don't remember.
Hold
Let's
on.
check.
Emmy 2021 winners.
Hey, one Emmy awards.
Yeah,
So I
it's
don't know what the
here.
difference is.
Then what is
Maybe,
this?
maybe these are more. There's more Emmy awards. I don't know.
Is the Emmys like a 2-day event or something?
I don't know. I
Uh,
watch the Oscars. I don't watch
Yeah,
this.
I watched the Oscars and I watched the Game Awards. That's it. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch the Emmys. I don't watch the Tonys.
Maybe we'll have more to say about this later.
Yeah.
But that's a thing that's happening right now.
Yeah. We're also not gonna do a. We still haven't come up with a final title for this segment of the podcast, but the segment where we recommend movies, we're also not gonna do that because Pat hasn't had the time to watch 1917 yet.
Yeah, next for next episode when we talk about undisclosed movie, I'll be
Undisclosed
talking
movie.
about 1917.
Yeah. So speaking of that, it's undisclosed movie. So make sure to check out our Instagram and our Twitter because a little bit before the episode airs, I'm gonna announce what episode, what movie we're doing. So check it out, guys. Check it
Yes,
out, guys.
sir.
We're hip with the children on those social medias, the Twitters and the Instama pictures.
Well, I'm old, so I don't know about that one. But
We are hip with the children, guys. What movie were they doing that? I watched a movie recently where they did a joke like that. Whatever. Anyways, uh, I guess I'll talk about it in the September episode, which will be next month. We're gonna do
yes,
episodes like this every month.
yes.
But with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening with us ramble for about an hour. If you haven't checked out the other episodes of the podcast, you should. I mean, if you're listening to this one, then maybe you should
I would
check out
hope
the
you
other
watch the
ones.
other two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope you watched the other two. I hope you didn't just walk into episode 3 wondering what's going on in this podcast. Just check out the other 2 episodes. And if you're listening on an audio only platform, I'm going to kindly ask you to hop onto our YouTube channel. Maybe leave a subscribe while you're there, but mainly to click on the video, check the descriptions, and you'll find all of our socials and our Letterboxd account. And also, a new thing that we're doing, if you click on our link tree, that's gonna be like link tree is on the front page of all of our socials and on the YouTube, pretty much everywhere that we're on, you'll find the link tree URL. If you go there at the very top, we made a Google form that you could fill out to recommend us a movie or a TV show. It could be anything. So you just click on it right there. Just put the title. If it hasn't come out yet, tell us when it's coming out. Tell if it's a movie or show. Any other thing you want to tell us? So we have like a recommendation box open. Just put in what you want us to watch, and we might review it for an episode of the podcast.
Yep.
Exciting things happening. Gonna be great. That's it. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in a theater near you. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Goodbye.